So right now, let's do Command S for save. And since it's never been saved, it's going to say, what do you want to save it? And we're going to say church, or whatever you want to call it. And let's just park it on the desktop for now. Okay, so now it's saved. And if you going over to the layers palette, if you want to make something invisible or so you don't see it, click on the eyeball. Now the first, you get two levels. First one is gray, it's grayed out, and then the second one is you click on it again and it disappears. Okay, so you can't change when it's active. You can't change it, but you can change all the others. Okay, so what we really want to do is we want to look at the plan at this point, and just look straight down on it. And the shortcuts are under the View menu up here for moving in and you've got top and bottom, right, left, back, front, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and minus sign. So what we want to do is we're going to look at in plan view, or top view they call it. That's Command 6. So get used to the shortcuts. Command 6, and there we have it. And let's create another layer so that we're not drawing on any of the DWG files. And we're going to call this model. So now that you got that set up that way, you can, click to gray out the DWG. And thinking of this in very rudimentary form, you've got one, if we look, for instance, at the front elevation, and do Option Command to sort of flip it up so we can start to see it. You've got one major box here. You've got another long skinny box here. You've got this porte cochere that's a 45-degree box that we haven't even addressed yet. And it looks like you've got another side box on the other side. So really what we would like to do starting is to create some of those major boxes. And so again, Command 6 to look in plan view. And we could make thin walls and that kind of thing, but for us, we don't really need that. Let's just create a box or boxes. And since everything's at right angles, we can use this tool, which is for that purpose. Go over here and make sure that is the tool that's, we can draw a 2D plane, we can do 2D walls, we can do solids, pyramids, 3D walls, and holes. So, what it's done right now, it's the height is set to dynamic, which is you're drawing it or you're entering it in. So that's, for us, that's fine. So with that tool selected, go down here on the 0, 0, 0, click. And once you click, you're drawing a box. And if the second click is the second corner. If you look up in the upper left-hand corner up here, you'll see a height. And I don't know what the height is, but I'm just going to put 2, 0, and then on the keyboard the foot indication. If I just said 20, it would be 20 inches. Okay, so 20 feet, and I hit enter. And once you get that, you get these arrows. Okay, and in actual fact, if I'm going to hold the command key down, there's not only 4, there's a 5th one, which is vertical height. Okay, so I just went down and clicked on with my mouse, and I held on to that arrow, and I'm going to move it up to snap to that part right there on the elevation. Okay, and now I'm going to go Command 6 because I want to look in plan view again, and I want to take this arrow. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to just drag over here where that wall is. Click, and then I'm going to do the same thing here and drag up to here where the wall exists. Okay, so now we've created a box, and we're still in Command 3, which is the outline view. If we just hit Command 2, we can see the solid mass we just created. And the reason that the DWG is not filled is because we are telling the plan view to be ghosted. So when you ghost it, those lines go away. So while we're kind of in this angle, there's another rectangle, another box, if you will, that's right here. This is a little porch area, but right here. So let's simply go back up, pick up our tool, and you know, if we zoom in here, now we could sit here and we could try to get that right on there, but it could be, you know, half an inch off. You know, it's visual, you know. And when you're working in Form Z, accuracy later on when you're building a model, it really is helpful. So if you slid over here, and when that green dot appears on that corner, you've nailed that corner, okay? Now if I went further and went up here, all of a sudden the grid appears on that face. That means if I draw a rectangle, I'm drawing on that face. See? So I'm going to do undo. But if I simply go over here and I just get close, I'm drawing, because since I've got the ground plane selected in the bottom left-hand corner, that's where I'm drawing. So I'm just going to draw a simple rectangle, and I don't care where it is. And I'm going to go up. Okay, now if you see how it's hollow, what's happened is I've got the hollow wall. So just simply hit the Option key, and you can toggle while you're drawing into the correct solid. And now that I've done that and I move my mouse, it snaps and all of a sudden becomes solid. And I go over here and I can click anywhere on that line. I could go up, wherever. But again, boom, they're exactly the same height. Now I can take this arrow down here and I can move it out and visually kind of get it where I think it's supposed to be. I can zoom out a little bit, grab this, come all the way down. Okay, now I'm going to zoom out and then zoom back. Wherever your mouse is, that's your center of movement. And it looks like right about there is correct. Okay, now this porch, got a little concrete slab. So while we're here, let's get that tool again. Let's go over into the corner until it snaps to it. Okay, we got her. Come over here, down, and now again, I could try to visually do it, but I could be off, just who knows, a little bit. So I'm just going to double click someplace arbitrary, and I'm going to go up, but I'm not going to click and up. And what I want is like a 6-inch slab. So I'm going to do 6 inches. 6. And since I know just a 6 is going to be inches, that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to take this yellow arrow and I'm going to go over there and I said, okay, bingo, I've got it. And over here and come out. And this is just visual, and I've got it. So there we've got that. Now what I like to do is do this frequently. Just hit Command S for save. Give it a couple of seconds and it's saved, and then do Option Command again, and let's rotate around, and let's do this long skinny one over here. So again, let's go to Plan View, and just for giggles, let me, I'm just going to go anywhere, in here. And since we're in plan view, but up in the upper left-hand corner, it wants to know height. So I'm gonna go 20 feet again, and hit enter. Now I've created a solid, but I've got the tools to move it around. So I can just hit this one and go over here. I got it. Come over here and watch, it'll snap to that wall. And now I'm going to zoom in a little closer so I can see this end wall. And then I'm going to do the same thing again here. Come out. Bingo. Okay. Now I'm going to zoom in on this corner. Oh, look at that. It didn't snap where it's supposed to. Obviously, there's a gap there. So what I'm going to do is just get that yellow arrow, and I'm going to go here and snap it. Okay. Now it is correct. And this is the vertical, the z-axis arrow. It allows me to change it up and down. I've just got it. I'm just going to zoom in here, and for now I'm just going to snap it to the top of that line. So that's how high that is. Okay. Now again, over here is a slab. So we get that tool again to draw. And we go over here, and let's see, we want to be on this one here. So let's go there. We've got that. Come over, and this is perfectly fine, just visual. It's just a little silly slab. And when we get to elevation, we can adjust the height again. Now, little trick. I just deselected that object. Okay, let's say I was doing something, and then later on I said, oh, I gotta move that somehow. Well, if you hold the control key down and click on it, you get a dialog box. Okay, and fourth item down, it says show controls. So you can go back later on and move it if you need to. Okay. Now, sometimes if you've done a lot of cuts and you've changed the shape of it drastically, it won't give you those options. But for the most part, you do get it. And those controls are going to stay visible until you hit Control and tap on it again and go back and uncheck Show Controls. All right, so it's a good little thing. Now let's save again. Okay. Now let's take and get this elevation in here. You've got two options. You can work in it off axis. In other words, everything is set up at 90 degrees in Form Z, and you can work in this different view if you want to, but you're going to find it a little cumbersome, to say the least. And I think it's a little bit further down the road. We'll go there because it does. You will need to know how to do it. But for now, let's just create this porte cochere in rectangular space, and then we can rotate the whole bloody thing around it at 45 degrees later. So let's go in and try to look at this thing and see what it is he's actually doing. And that's anybody's guess what he's trying to do here. He's got two columns, and I don't know if this is a true porte cochere or it's just an entrance with doors. He's not clear here. So let's take a minute and go to the DWG and see if we can figure out. That doesn't help. It doesn't look like a true you can't drive a vehicle underneath it, so it's just a little short porch. I'm going to assume that he's got his doors along this wall here, and okay, all right, let's go back to your model. Well, no, before we do that, let's go ahead and get the straight on elevation of this thing. Now we could copy the whole bloody thing, but we really don't need it. All we really need is this section right here. So let's just Option Command again to rotate around a little bit, kind of right in there, and then drag select across. And you're going to get a couple of extra lines, but it doesn't make any difference. So we do copy, and and then go back to your